Hi everybody and welcome to Merrimack, New Hampshire. We're at Merrimack High School right now, and today we're going to discuss New Hampshire scholars. And with us we have Joel Yates, who is a sophomore at New York University, majoring in drama. And we also have Pat McGrath, who is one of our business partners for New Hampshire scholars. And Pat is McGrath Associates Claims and Risks.
Claims and Risk Service.
Claims and Services, thanks. And I'm Lindsay DiLorenzo, and I'm the New Hampshire Scholars Coordinator here at Merrimack High School. And so first things first, Joel, I wanted to get a little bit of background of what you're doing now and what you did in high school.
Okay, in high school I was the school board representative for a year, my senior year. Now, as you said, I'm a sophomore at NYU, studying drama at the Tisch School of Arts. Basically, I'm training to be a director and designer of Broadway musicals and plays in the New York area. So I do a lot of training, like in school at a studio called Playwrights Horizons Theater School. And basically we learn all the disciplines of theater, from drafting to creating sets to lighting and sound to also acting and directing and movement. So it's very rigorous and takes a lot of time, but it's really exciting to be back.
Awesome. And so, if you wouldn't mind, when you were at Merrimack High School, you were involved in the New Hampshire Scholars Program. And so, why were you involved?
I was involved mainly because Ms. Mandra was also helping with the program at the time, and she still does now. Mm-hmm. And she said, Joel, there's this course. If you take all these courses, you can be eligible for New Hampshire Scholars. And I was like, well, I'm already taking most of them, so might as well go for the gold and get all of them done. So I just decided to enroll at that time.
So were there any courses that you took at Merrimack High School that the New Hampshire Scholars, the courses that they recommended, were there any courses that better prepared you or more prepared you for college and for work beyond that you may not have taken if you weren't involved in the program?
The New Hampshire Scholars Program made me take a little bit more math than the high school diploma recommended or required. So I had to take like AP Calculus and trigonometry and higher level maths that I wasn't really interested in, but it helped me for college because we had to have those like prerequisites to enter the program.
I was just saying, if you hadn't taken the courses, you wouldn't have been able to get into some of those colleges you applied for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Thanks. Are there any recommendations that if a student that's currently at Merrimack High School now is watching this show, any recommendations that you would give them?
Just to take the classes that the New Hampshire Scholars requires, because it definitely prepares you for the colleges and work beyond high school. Whether or not you know it at the time, it builds those skills in the future.
Awesome. Thanks. And you, Pat?
Yes.
So you've been involved in New Hampshire Scholars for many years, serving on the board. Can you give us a little background of, where you came from, why you're involved, things of that nature?
I've always had a great interest in education, and as someone may remember, I served on the school board here in the community. Excuse me. And it's important that students at all levels feel some way of finding success and going towards a successful outcome, where they want to be. What can school do, to get me where I want to go? Maybe it's on to college. Maybe it's on to a professional technical career. Maybe it's just in general to have me ready to be a more mature person and contributing as in society. And that's really what New Hampshire Scholars does. And in certain ways, those students who are already on a track that they know they want to go to college, it's great, I think, as a board member, that they get that extra recognition, that they've taken this extra set of very rigorous courses, and they've had some achievement. But at the same time, I think it's also inspiring. To me, as as a business owner, that we have students who have the ability, they have the talent. They just need some encouragement, that someone is really interested in their ability to achieve. So for myself and the other business owners, on our local, New Hampshire Scholars Merrimack Board, we're all the same line. We have some great opportunities here to partner with the students, to help them, explore where their future lies. Give them the opportunity maybe to do some internship, maybe do some job shadow. Simply ask questions of us. What were the courses that benefited us as business owners? What are you looking for in a person? And if we don't have the answers personally, we'll help that student get those answers.
Thanks, Pat. So, as well as everything that Pat said and Joel has said, one of the things that you get from being a New Hampshire Scholar is that you're allowed to put that recognition of being a New Hampshire Scholar on your college applications, which is a huge benefit. So as well as being able to put that recognition of being a state scholar, you do have those courses underneath your belt. And so we discussed that there's more rigorous course of study. So you've got the 4 years of English, which everybody has to take. But one of the things above and beyond New Hampshire Scholars requires you is the 3.5 years of a social studies. And what did you take for your extra courses? Do you remember?
I took criminology and constitutional rights. Both were very interesting classes. Criminology, I was elected speaker of the class, and then I had to run the class. So that was really interesting. I had to conduct the court trials that we had when people broke this class laws and things. And then in constitutional rights, I didn't know what to expect, but it was just like studying the Constitution and looking at different court cases to see how they turned out based on like different amendments in the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, so that's neat. So because you were going through this New Hampshire Scholars program, you were able to take these other classes that you wouldn't normally have enrolled in.
Yeah, I wasn't normally going to take them, but it was like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah, and it gave you some leadership skills as well, having to run the class and to speak
Yeah.
in front of the class and make decisions, learning more than you would thought you would. So that's interesting. So you've got the social studies component. We also had to take there's some science labs that you had to take as well. What were the extra science labs that you took to be a New Hampshire Scholar?
I took honors physics my senior year, and then I also took Science Olympiad, which was a class that was structured around the Science Olympiad program. So we went through different disciplines of science like forestry, expository writing, and we went through each of those disciplines and we were tested on each of those sections, and then together we were graded on our performance and our effort in those events, I guess.
Awesome. All right. And then there was the 2 years of a foreign language that you had to take. What did you take?
I took Spanish for 3 years, and then in the 4th year I took 2 sciences, so I wasn't able to do it for the last year. But I learned a lot of Spanish, and it helped me for my first year of college, which was in Italy, so I had to learn Italian, and Spanish is very similar to Italian, so it was very easy for me.
So where did you go to school in Italy?
New York University in Florence. We have a site. New York University has 12 global academic centers. So my freshman year, I was sent to Florence as part of an initiative, an immersion initiative, and they put us there for a year. We learned a general curriculum before coming back to New York.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a very cool experience.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. What other schools did you apply to, or that you were accepted to?
I was accepted to Northeastern, UNH, the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical School of, Aeronautics, and there's another, Florida Institute of Technology.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Joel, sometimes people are very cynical about education. Some people have this idea that kids coming out of high school, they haven't learned anything. They're just there for fun and games. So from your perspective, now, a couple of years of college under your belt, How do you feel? Did you get a good preparation coming out of Merrimack High School?
I think so. At NYU, we get a lot of diverse cultures, like people from different cultures and different countries and states and things, and it's interesting to see how prepared I am versus everyone else at the school. Like people coming from India and people coming from different countries have a different preparation and a different work ethic than I do. But it was interesting for me to see how I was prepared, maybe even more prepared for college because of New Hampshire scholars than maybe some other states or also even in the world.
That's good. It's very encouraging.
Yeah.
You know, as business owners, you know, we look for people who, because of their knowledge base or their experience, have the tools, you know, to come in and hit the ground running in our businesses.
Mm.
They have a flair, they have a drive, an interest, and they want to grow and they want to help us grow. So this is encouraging.
And that's one of the goals of New Hampshire Scholars, is to sort of make the problem-solving skills, the decision-making skills, the critical thinking skills, to mature those and have the students practice those more and develop those, so that when they do get into either the workforce or they go off to college, we're setting a student that's more prepared, you know, and ready to tackle the rigors of college, because they went through a very rigorous course study here at the high school. So that's encouraging to hear. And it's encouraging to hear that it's benefited you by taking these courses and being able to apply the skills that you've developed here, you know, at a very prestigious school. You know, and you said they're all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, and you had a great opportunity to go, you know, represent New York University over in Italy. You know, they don't just select any student for that, you know, so that's also, it's great to hear. So, yeah.
Have you encountered anyone else, Joel, after graduation, who have gone either through Merrimack or another school, who has done New Hampshire Scholars, and what their experiences have been?
I met someone actually on my flight over to Italy. I was seated next to someone from New Hampshire, and he was going to a different school. He was like a year or two older than I was, and we were talking about the New Hampshire Scholars Program, because I was like, oh, I did this thing in high school. They're like, oh yeah, so did I. And he was at Syracuse, going over there for like some business courses and also some Italian culture classes. And he was studying to be like a business person that was like going between Italy and the United States. So I thought it was interesting that we were both coming from like New Hampshire Scholars and we were like on the same plane. So
Yeah.
it was interesting and odd.
And like you were saying, you're seeing a difference in achievement at NYU with people who did not take a rigorous course of studies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just read recently a stat that said that 70% of high school graduates wishes they had taken a more rigorous course study, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it definitely prepared me for like the college course load.
Mhm.
By taking a rigorous course load here, prepared me for what could be college, like the workload at college. I mean, the first few weeks of college, it's pretty easy,
Yeah.
to be honest. But afterwards, it ramps up, and that's when you need to be like really prepared for the workload afterwards.
Well, thank you, and thank you guys very much for coming and speaking with us again. This is Joel Yates. He's going to the New York University, and we have Pat McGrath from McGrath Associates Business and Claims Services. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate you coming in and just sort of having a nice conversation about New Hampshire Scholars at Merrimack High School.